Welcome to the show, everybody. This is Direct Sports Daily. I'm your host, George Bennett. And I just got done watching Big 3 basketball, and I wanted to give you my first impressions of it. And it was pretty good in some aspects, pretty disappointing in some other aspects. And for those of you who are unaware, Big 3 basketball is a new 3-on-3 basketball league. It's sort of Ice Cube's sort of brainchild. He sort of brought this whole thing together. Ice Cube, the guy who was in NWA, big time rapper, stars in movies like Ride Along and Are We There Yet, things of that nature. Biggest movie production I think he did was Friday, the Friday series of movies, and I think there's another one coming out of those. But this is what he's been working on for roughly, I'd say, around 18 months, and it's finally come to fruition. He's gotten a lot of former NBA players on board with this, most notably Allen Iverson. But it debuted tonight. They played their first round of games last night, I think Sunday night. And they debuted tonight, Monday, which when I found that out, it was sort of disappointing. Thought some of the games might be live, at least. But apparently we're going to get them all on tape delay, so it lends itself to spoilers. And going into this, just trying to figure out, okay, what time and station is this whole thing going to be on? I was exposed to some spoilers and things like that. I like just article headlines and stuff like that through Google searches. I think one of the first things I saw was there was going to be an injury to Jason Williams, aka White Chocolate. So going into it, it was like, okay, I know this is going to happen. Even though when he went down, it didn't look too serious, so maybe nothing even happened to him. And one of the other big things was Deshaun Stevenson in the crazy game-winning shot that also got spoiled for me. So that whole game, watching, I can't even remember the team's names. I know one of them's like Ghost Ballers. Like they got some weird names. I think they're Ghost Ballers, Ball Hogs, Threes Company. Like a lot of them are puns on three, being Big 3 basketball and all that. Tri-State is one of the teams. Trilogy, Killer Threes, and they're all kind of silly. Three-headed monsters. Power is one of the team's names. I think that was the team Deshaun Stevenson played for and hit that game-winning shot. But going into it, just the start of it, it starts off with a theme song written by Ice Cube himself, performed by him. And theme song obviously is on point. Ice Cube, one of the greatest rappers of all time, so you'd expect nothing less. Unlike the players on the court, he doesn't appear to have lost it in that regard from what he was doing 20, 30 years ago, but you can't really say that about a lot of the talent on the court. Well, let's start with the good. First, you had Gus Johnson on the commentary. I'm always all about that. Like I said, the theme song to start everything off was pretty good. But then they had sort of an animated short with Ice Cube where he went through and explained all the new rules of the game. And I just want to go real quick over the rules. It's play to 60. Shots from the field are worth 2, 3, and 4 points. Anything behind the 3-point line is 3 points, obviously. And then they have these 3 circles. And if any part of your foot is on that circle, you get 4 points. The 4-point circles are roughly 30 feet from the basket, or as Gus Johnson kept referring to it as Curryland. And what else? Foul shots. If you're fouled, you shoot from whatever area of the floor you were fouled on, and you shoot once to get the equivalent amount of points you would for that shot. So if you get fouled from 2, you shoot and you get 2 points if you hit the shot. If you get fouled from 3, you shoot from 3 and you get 3 points if you make it. You shoot from one of the 4-point circles that get fouled. You shoot from one of those circles. I think you can only shoot from the straight on one. That's the only one anyone picked. The one time I saw someone get fouled from 4. So if you hit that, you get 4 points. Those are some of the good aspects of it. There's a 14-second shot clock. There's hand checking allowed, so fast and physical. It's a really good game to watch. I think one of the things holding it back, though, as we get sort of into the negative aspects of it, is the lack of star power. The biggest name in all this is Allen Iverson, obviously, and we hoped with a name like Allen Iverson you could attract more big names. Like there's a ton of guys out there. I recently watched an interview between Kevin Garnett and Jason Williams. Jason Williams was trying to convince, hey KG, you gotta get out here. KG basically said, oh, my knees, I don't know if I can do it. And it's like a half-court game too. So I don't know what kind of excuse that is. It's not as much running up and down the court, but you can see guys. There's a reason these guys are retired, and it's not necessarily because they don't have the game. It's more so, can they endure all the physicality of the game? These guys were getting winded really quickly because they're all late 30s, early 40s. I think the youngest guy in the league that I saw was like 29. So, and I saw one guy, I can't remember his name. I think it was Mahmoud Abdur Rauf. He's somebody who's even before my time watching basketball, and he was out there, salt and pepper beard and all, and he was like 45. So got a lot of really old timers out there, and as we saw from Jason Williams and even Corey Maggette, even the most minor tweaks had these guys out for the rest of the game, where, you know, if these guys were like 20 years old, they just bounce right back and come back up and get back into the game. But, you know, that's Father Time. He's undefeated, as they say. So the entire concept of it's very interesting. It's something I found very intriguing. I sought this out. I even skipped watching the stupid NBA awards show because I'm not really much of an awards show guy. Even when it comes to sports, I don't watch the Oscars or the Grammys or the ESPYs or any of that. So I actually wanted to see some competition. So I tuned into this, and there were certainly worse ways I could have spent my Monday night. If I had to give this rating out of like 10, I'd say like 6 out of 10. Just because there was a severe lack of star power. I know I logged on to a live stream of it just to see what people were chatting about involved in the game. And everybody's like, oh, where's Kobe? Where is KG? Where's Tim Duncan? I know they interviewed Paul Pierce during one of the games. He stated, oh, maybe I gotta get into this next season, get KG involved, and maybe we get a team together with Kobe. And to me, it sort of reminded me of when they interviewed LeBron James during a dunk contest, and he said, I'm preliminarily putting my name in the hat for the next one, and to this day, we've still never seen LeBron James in a dunk contest. So, not sure if this league has the staying power for a second season. I know, I'd say about halfway through, they played about 4 games. After game 2, I was literally only sticking around to see Allen Iverson play, and that's going to get into my next point, but it was hard to keep watching after a while. But my next point is the biggest disappointment in all of this was they had a 3-hour window they had to squeeze 4 games into, and the games take roughly a little under an hour apiece, playing to 60 with halftime being whenever the first team scores 30. Because of that, you saw like one game get cut way short. You basically only got highlights of it. And that was Allen Iverson's Three's Company team facing off against Brian Scalabrini's, yes, that Brian Scalabrine. Brian Scalabrini's, what are they called? The something ball hogs or something like that? These names are pretty ridiculous, but yeah, that game, you basically only got highlights of it, and from the highlights we did see, almost none of them involved Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson is one of the player coaches in this league. He's supposed to be one of the big businessmen involved in it, one of the players, and he's basically the face of this entire thing. It's Allen Iverson and Ice Cube. Like, when you think of Big Three basketball, you think of those two, and we saw very little Allen Iverson. Even in the highlights of the game he did, I don't think we saw him take a shot. Maybe we saw him take a shot or two, maybe. I must have missed it, but a lot of the highlights of him were him on the bench coaching, and his team, I think, won by 10, so it's hard to argue with what he was doing just from a gameplay standpoint, but he kept pulling himself out of the game, and he, afterwards in a post-game interview, he said he wanted to make sure, hey, I'm not going to be selfish and try to make this all about me. I'm trying to win, and I'm going to let this guy get his shine and whatnot. But I think it's more to the detriment of the league and everything going on here that he not play like almost the whole game. Like it seemed to be a pretty decent crowd there in Barclays Center for this thing, and I know probably a good 95% of them were there to see Allen Iverson, and the other 5% was probably the crew working the game, and they were probably all there just to see Allen Iverson as well. But we didn't get to see too much of AI. Some of the biggest players we saw go off in this one, Rashard Lewis had a really good game. Like I mentioned earlier, Deshaun Stevenson. A lot of these guys who were a couple-time All-Stars, we got a bunch of couple-time All-Stars in this game. So if you're a hardcore basketball fan, they're names you know of. And some of them are even like mid-level players from NBA days, like a guy like Reggie Evans. He wasn't even good back when he was playing in the NBA, so I doubt he's drawing any crowds that want to see him. You got guys I completely forgot existed, like Ricky Davis and Mo Evans. So it was kind of cool seeing them, but that's a sort of novelty that doesn't carry on. And I don't know, the game itself is definitely fun to watch, and I know they mentioned 3-on-3 basketball is going to be in the 2020 Olympics. I believe those are in Tokyo, if memory serves me correctly. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'd probably give it around a 6 out of 10. I'll probably tune in next week because all these games are on FS1 at 8 p.m. and it's probably a huge boon for FS1. Because that's probably the first time I've ever watched that channel, and that's probably the case for many people. I don't even know what comes on there. Like, I think like maybe second tier Pac-12 games if I had to guess. Like, you could probably get your fill of Colorado playing Arizona State in basketball. I don't know. Probably a bunch of NASCAR if I had to guess. So, hey, it was certainly a decent debut. Like I said, you need more star power. You need guys who are more recognizable than Coutinho Mobley out there. It's like a lot of these guys were like good, solid NBA players, but I'm trying to think of like an apt comparison to today's game. It's like I'm not gonna want to watch Iman Shumpert in like 15 years or something like that, or I don't know, like a J.R. Smith. Like those guys, while they're decent role players now, I'm not gonna be wanting to watch them play basketball 15 years from now. And if that's what Big Three basketball is gonna be, I don't know if it's for me. I know I texted Rob to ask him if he was watching. He said he completely forgot about it. He turned it on for about 10-20 minutes and then went back to watching something else. So even a big-time basketball nerd like Rob couldn't get into it. So who knows? If you're Ice Cube and Allen Iverson, I can almost, I can bet they are out working the phones trying to get bigger names for this whole thing. And hats off to Ice Cube just in general for even getting Allen Iverson. Like, I think without him, there's no draw to this whole thing at all. I mean, nobody tuned in to watch Jermaine O'Neal. I'm sorry. Nobody did that. It's like, I think a good guy to reference now would be CJ McCollum. Is he going to be somebody who would get you to watch something like this 10, 15 years from now? I don't think so. And you got a lot of guys around that kind of skill level, which they were great NBA players. They played their times over, and it's good to see what they're up to. And that was another nice thing about it. Like, they had these little interludes in between the game action, showing this is how the league got started. This is how Allen Iverson got involved in it. This is what Ice Cube's vision was, and all sorts of interviews. They had Michael Rappaport doing sideline interviews, which you could tell is not something he has been trained to do by any stretch of the imagination. So those were a little awkward, but I think Big Three basketball, it has so much potential. I think the gameplay is very intriguing. The storylines definitely aren't there yet. Some of the coaches, they got legendary coaches, Clyde Drexler, Gary Payton, Charles Oakley, Rick Mahorn, guys like that, Dr. J. So seeing some of those coaching matchups is kind of an intriguing storyline. I know in the last game, I think it was the Killer Threes versus Trilogy, Rick Mahorn and Charles Oakley were the two coaches that may have a history together, so that was sort of the storyline. But right now, the only storyline you have coming out of all this is Jason Williams going to be able to come back from this injury? We all know, older guys that they just can't come back from these injuries. That's why long 82-game seasons, that's mostly the reason they're not playing anymore, because they get one little nick and they're done. So 10-game schedule includes the championship. We'll see. It's great filler for this time of year because there's literally nothing going on right now except WNBA and baseball. And if you're not into either of those, this is definitely something that can be right up your alley. Or there's always Netflix. But some good and bad with the debut of Big Three basketball. I would like it a lot more if the games were live. I would like more stars to be a part of this. It has potential. Will it ever realize that potential? I gotta say, I doubt it, but I am hopeful. I want this to be a good thing. I'd really like this to be a mode in like 2K or NBA Live coming up, so we'll see with that. But I want to thank everybody for watching and listening. This has been Direct Sports Daily. I've been George Bennett, and I'll see you next time. And if you liked that video, check out some of our others. And to keep up with all the latest uploads from Direct Sports Daily, hit the subscribe button.